Good morning and welcome to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman. And I'm so excited you guys are with us this morning. We're here to empower you, your friends, your family, and your children to be healthy and well naturally. And so many people will tell me out in the community that they're doing things to improve and enhance their health. And at the end of the day, I always ask them, are you really certain that these are the proper steps for you to be healthy and well naturally? There are many people that I also run into lately that tell me that the community is not ready for the real message of health and wellness. They want to tone it down. They want to water it down a bit because they think that at the end of the day, you would be much more happier to go into the grocery store, buy packaged foods, processed foods, than to really buy things that are growing naturally, chemical-free from the earth. Buying vegetables, fruits, whole produce from local farmers. And I always say to them, I don't believe that. I believe that our community not only wants to be healthy and well naturally, but you have a lot invested in this. And what you have invested in this is your health. And at the end of the day, the average person in America spends an average $6,500 a year in trying not to be sick. And the real question is, do you want to be healthy and well, or do you just not want to be sick? And at the end of the day, my question is, why wouldn't you want to be well? And see, every choice and decision you make today determines where your health is this very moment and where it's going to be in the future. Many Americans believe that if they feel good, they're well, and if they feel bad, they're sick. But you've heard me say this over and over again. That's a very poor indication of your health and your vitality. Yet the medical model has spent so much money on not only teaching you that, but also making beautiful commercials with the pharmaceutical companies with a really nice butterfly that lands on your pillow that tells you if you take a pill, powder, lotion, drug, shot, or surgery, that's the answer to you being able to sleep well at night, your stomach being at peace, and you having this overall sensation of being well. And the reality is, no matter how many commercials or how many ways you want to look at it, health comes from within. And my husband, many of you know, he's a wellness chiropractor. His name's Dr. Evan R. Christman. And we own Christman Family Chiropractic in Bel Air, Maryland. We have not only invested in ourselves, but we've invested in our community. We spend most of our time studying and learning what is health. See, there are many people right now that are popping up all over the place that are putting the cap on saying that they're the health and wellness experts. They have all sorts of outside tools to sell you, things that you can buy. I call them, one of our good friends, Dr. Dean DePice, calls it widgets, that everybody's got a widget to sell. But the reality is, what we've learned, and from the over 14 years of being in practice, is that health comes from within. See, you were born with your body having the ability to not only heal and function and do what it needs to do, but to be self-healing and self-organizing. See, if you accidentally paper cut your finger, sure, please wash your hands, keep it clean, but it's not the Band-Aid, it's not the ointment that's doing the healing, it's your body's ability to heal naturally on its own that heals the paper cut. And so if I were to ask people, so what actually runs your body? Most people would say to me, their heart. We spend so much time talking about the importance of the function of your heart. But the reality is, the main thing that controls your health and where it comes from is your central nervous system. It was the first organ created when you were conceived. Literally, it allows your body to heal, grow, thrive, and adapt. It allows every single organ, tissue, and cell in the body to send signals to your brain and back again. It's a very big, beautiful computer system, but even more advanced than that. So you don't have to think about your heart beating. You don't have to think about your food digesting. It does it on its own. And at the end of the day, through the power of that chiropractic, physical, chemical, and emotional. And we'll start to talk about this in a bit. But those stresses over your lifetime create an abundance of the ability for your central nervous system to slow down. It creates a muscle imbalance, and the vertebrae can no longer allow the central nervous system to send the signal out to the organ tissues and cells and back to the brain again, so the body gets to be well. And in turn, you start to see symptoms that show up in your health in your life. You may have asthma. Right now, I'm hearing a lot of people telling me they have allergies. They'll tell me, oh God, it's the pollen in the air. It's the trees. It's the flowers. You'll hear people say this all throughout the year. It's that time of year again. Gosh, it's not that time of year again. The question is, how come if someone's central nervous system's doing its job, eating chemical-free foods, moving their bodies, have a life that supports them, why aren't they getting sick? Why are they actually well? Why are they thriving? How come people like me aren't saying, hey, you know what, the allergies are bothering me? Because I don't have allergies. I've never had a headache. Generally, I feel rather well. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, where does your health come from, and how can you be the healthiest you can possibly be? And today we have Pete with us, and we're going to start to talk about nutrition. And I'm so excited that he's here, and I can't wait for us to not only delve into nutrition, but also begin to learn even more about our health so that we can be the best we can possibly be. And we're going to take a quick commercial break and head right into you being well.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a licensed chiropractor in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages, newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center, at 410-734-4060, and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060, or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman. I'm so excited you guys are with us today. And today we have Pete. Pete, I'm so excited you're here. Welcome to Wake Up to Wellness.
Thank you, Michelle.
You are welcome. So Pete, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, who am I? I am a local Baltimore a resident. Actually was born and raised in New York, went to an academy, and I was in the pharmaceutical industry for some 18 years.
Okay.
Mainly in the realm of oncology. Married, 2 children, and I try to keep myself pretty active and fit. And most recently was introduced to you and your practice, and actually recently had the opportunity through a company downsizing. Actually, our company, many individuals in the pharmaceutical industry have faced that with job cuts. So I had to cover to broaden my horizons and explore new opportunities. And I was fortunate to start exploring the realm of health, nutritional health, and that led me to this point now where I've been active with a new technology which enables us to very quickly and effectively measure at the skin level one's nutritional health. It's really very fascinating, Nobel Award-winning technology, which I'm happy to speak to you today.
Isn't that great? And for many people that know me, I often say to myself, at the end of the day, there are so many people out there that are pushing medication doctors' offices, telling them what they should be taking and giving their patients. But at the end of the day, that's sickness care. It's not health care. So, it sounds to me that you've had this big turn in events and you say that you exercise, that you've been watching your food, you try to take great care of your health, and now you're being involved in, the wellness industry. So tell me, what have you learned so far? What's the difference between this world and the other world you were in?
That's a great question, Michelle. Thank you. The difference in this world is, I think, as you identified, on the medical side, often the physicians will effectively diagnose and then try to treat a malady, a condition. And that's fine. There are times when that absolutely has to be done. But perhaps even the more important component of health is preventative health. What can we do neurologically, nutritionally, that try to prevent those conditions from happening. Is there anything we can do to rally our natural health, to protect ourselves? And that's what this is all about. So for me, it's quite interesting because I've never really seen integrated into the practices which I visited, and there have been a plethora over 18 years, really effective wellness programs, not at least that I could see.
Right.
And I do think that's a huge component of medical care. Interestingly, the American Society of Clinical Oncology has recognized the importance of this, and now they have an active campaign, really discussing the importance of kind of aftercare, living with cancer, thriving through cancer. It's called survivability. It's surviving through cancer, because the of your life after the treatment. Okay, how do we continue to be healthy and healthier and protect ourselves from additional diseases that might come forth? So it's a very exciting area, and we've learned so much. The science is so wonderful today, and I think we have the ability to receive good nutrition. But you have to focus. And you have to understand what you're doing.
And so at the end of the day, what we've always focused on is way far in advance of prevention. Many people will say that, that's the best that the medical model has, is they're looking at what's wrong with me now after the fact that something terrible has occurred to my health. And now we're talking about, well, how can they be well after the fact that they've already become sick? And in our world, we've always looked at how can we keep you healthy and well right now? So it sounds like your technology could possibly help people not only become aware of where they are this present moment, but not get to the point of preventative care or even heading down the path of, oh, well, gosh, now I have diabetes, now I have cancer. What are the steps we can do beforehand to build our health up so that we're not heading down the path of being sick and ill? So tell me, how does that fit into that picture of beforehand, getting them to the point where they're not going to head down the path of being sick, but actually heading towards being well?
Well, Michelle, a great question, and I think the way we can do this now, finally, I remember when I was growing up, Michelle, my mom would always state to me, she read copious quantities of materials, all kinds of health magazines, and perhaps she was before her time, and she'd always stress to myself and my brothers how important it was to eat a balanced meal, fruits and vegetables, protein, complex carbohydrates, and as kids, we think we know everything. We don't want to listen to mom. So, mom can't possibly be right. And so we'd eat decent. She cooked beautiful meals, every day, amazing. But nonetheless, we could have done much more for our health. And so I think as a family, we've been relatively healthy. But overall now, I see in my mom, as she's entered into her 80s, she's an octogenarian, and now she, over the past 10 years, has had a host of maladies, high cholesterol and high blood pressure. She's had hyperglycemia, diabetes. A host of issues have come up. My dad suffered vision loss due to macular degeneration, cataracts, both parents. And these are parents that ate reasonably well. But I was able to use the scanning technology that we presently have with my family and myself, and we realized that we're actually nutritionally, in 90 seconds, I knew we were only moderately protected with what we call antioxidant health. And so I was actually shocked to find that, because I thought we were much healthier than that. But the diseases that my mom has succumbed to, and my dad with his vision loss, really reflected, and I've had problems with my left eye, that we could do much more. So I was very fascinated by this technology, and now so motivated, because I have a tool that I can quickly and accurately measure. Do we have protective levels of antioxidants within our body high enough to take those free radical hits that damage DNA and lead to inflammation and disease? And the vast majority of Americans have very poor diets relative to fruits and vegetables, and that's where we get a lot of these antioxidants and these carotenoids that protect us so very well. So as Michelle, you pointed out, there's so much we can do nutritionally to eat the right foods and then supplement My particular company I represent, Pharmanex, has an amazing supplement. These are physician grade nutraceuticals that are incredibly well absorbed and proven to really raise your nutritional score dramatically. And that's so very, very important. So we can measure each month, okay, we're exercising more, which would be a recommendation, we're eating better foods, and we are supplementing. Standard AMA guideline nutritional supplements are a good thing to stop degenerative diseases. So now we can measure and monitor, and that's the beauty of this process, is that we can take it on a scientific side and show the patient a picture of the nutritional health every month.
And what's so interesting about this too is so many people will do the best they can to eat. I was reading a study this morning on aspartame. And so many, there are over 6,000 foods that aspartame is in. And it's talking about how it's terrible in the oxidative stress. It also not only wreaks havoc, it also creates MS, it creates cancers, it creates all sorts of maladies and symptoms. And so at the end of the day, yes, nutrition is so vitally important. However, we have to look at the whole picture. We have to see not only what are we putting in our mouths, how are we actually moving our bodies? And one thing that really hits me, Pete, when I hear you say all of this, is there's a chart and it's called your vital needs. And it's broken down into 4 categories. The first is nutrition. A vital need would be nutrition. But at the end of the day, you could go, it depends on the person, but they average about 40 days before you would pass away. The next vital need is water. You can go approximately 4 days, they estimate, without water. But the reality is it depends upon the person. If somebody said, I wanted to change my health quickly, well, what should I do? Drink more water. And then take it a little further. The next vital need is air, oxygen. As many of you know, my dad's a volunteer fireman, has been doing that for 56 years. When my father shows up at the scene of a car accident, he doesn't say, hey, did you eat today? Did you have enough water? No, he checks the airways. He wants to make sure that you can get the air you need. They estimate that you could live about 4 minutes without air. And the one thing that most everybody completely ignores and doesn't even look at, that's the most vital need to their health, is their nerve supply. Literally, if at any moment that nerve supply were to be completely stopped or broken off, you're dead. It's over with. So at the end of the day, many people's health are not only breaking down, slowing down, but getting sick because they're not taking care of their central nervous system, which is what they're living their life through. And I ask you guys to not only begin to see that it's a major vital need. You have to ask, do I get adjusted? Do my colleagues get adjusted? Do my friends and family get adjusted? And the answer is yes. And even as newborn babies, as soon as a baby is born into a chiropractic family, the first thing we do is check the vital need of nerve supply. And you'd begin to see that if that nerve system's able to send the signal to the brain, the eyes would function at a higher level. I can't tell you how many kids I've seen that have walked into my practice can barely speak. They have autism. They have learning differences. After being adjusted, they can speak clearly. Walking, the same thing. How many therapists do they go to because they can't move their body appropriately? Their nerve system comes back on, they walk. So at the end of the day, what Pete is saying is so vital, that we not only need to invest in our health, invest in the foods, invest in exercising, and you have a fabulous family because, Pete's wonderful. If you've ever spent any time with him, he has such a beautiful personality, but you can tell Pete comes from the heart. Pete not only is very clear on what he's doing and believes in what he's doing, but he wants the best for his community. And it sounds like the technology that you're using really allows people to see that picture that many people haven't been able to see. And what's the biggest lesson you've learned in the time doing what you're doing? If one person could walk away with the message of doing something even better for their health, what would it be, Pete, that you've learned?
Michelle, I believe what I've learned is that don't assume that you're healthy just because you're feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
You may function pretty well, but the reality is there's a war going on inside your body and outside your body. And if your cells are not well protected, down the line, it may take 10 years, it may take 20, 30 years, but if you don't put up a nice protective shield, a wall, take care of your neurological health, but also your nutritional health, and protect and build up that shield of phytonutrients that are so critical to take those free radical hits, which is what these plant nutrients and vegetable nutrients do when they perfuse the cells of your body. If you don't take those steps, can assure you that you will suffer many, many degenerative diseases that are very, very uncomfortable. You know, the goal is to live well longer and happier, you know, so that you're 80 years old and you're running a marathon and then you fall down and have a heart attack. Okay, eventually we'll all pass away, but we want to go out strong.
Right.
And I think that's the key. We assume we're healthy. I scanned a young girl that was 20 years old last week at my physician's office, one of the clinicians in the office. She scored out at the lowest level possible to measure, at 10,000. We expect and hope somebody would be 30,000 to 60,000. She was at 10,000. She was shocked. And she said she hadn't been feeling well, but, you know, I also asked her, how's your nutrition? Not very good. She also does tanning beds, which depletes all of your protective carotenoids. I mean, it really ablates your ability to protect against disease. So she was quite shaken. I also scanned a vegetarian in the office who scanned out at 93,000, which was off the Richter scale for protective abilities. She's 65 years old, is a complete picture of health and energy. So what I've learned is don't assume that you're healthy because you're young. You got to put up a protective shield.
I love that. And there's a story that hits me that, you know, I heard a long time ago with what you told me, Pete. There is the technology we use in our equipment is called the subluxation station, and we take pictures of your central nervous system. And it shows you how the stresses from your lifetime, physical, chemical, and emotional, have stained that nerve system. And one of our friends, his name's Dr. David Jackson. He doesn't practice anymore. He's an actual coach for chiropractors now. But he had a 21-year-old girl come to his practice. He took a picture of her central nervous system, did an exam. He couldn't believe just how awful her nerve system was. And he sat down with her and said, you know, listen, you're a young girl. She said, but you know what? I am a gymnast. I also am a physical trainer. I eat well. I do everything I can to exercise. I look great. What you're telling me makes no sense. She goes on her way. He said for some reason he couldn't get her out of his mind. 2 weeks later, he's reading the newspaper and sees a story. The girl that he scanned died of a massive heart attack at 21 years old. Now, he couldn't help himself, but he went back to the scans to look at them. And in the heart area, massive red and black, which to us, that's off the charts. It means your nerve system can't get the signal to the brain. The heart's not doing its job. It's slowing down. But see, you've got to understand, when people hear the word chiropractor, it doesn't hold the same weight. And at the end of the day, the medical doctor could say, oh, you know what? I did this picture and there's something wrong with your heart. Yes, you know, for most people, they're going to go, oh my God, I'm saying. But when a chiropractor says, there's something massively wrong with your health, you need to change. Oftentimes, it's being looked at with a grain of salt. But I'm here to tell you, folks, you live your life through your central nervous system. This chiropractor said to himself, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe it was her time. Or maybe her nerve system was not functioning so much that her heart couldn't do its job and she had a massive heart attack. You know, we'll never know. But the reality is, how do you know if you're well? And there's not only technology out there to tell you, but there are whole professions out there dedicated to you being healthy and well naturally. And the profession of the chiropractor We've been doing that for 115 years. That's been our focus, how to keep you healthy and well naturally. We are the wellness doctors. It's not a fad to us. It is who we are. And you talked about oxidative stress. For many of you that have known me for a long period of time, and Dr. Evan, you know that for the most part, we are drinking vegetables and fruit shakes almost on a daily basis. Chemical-free vegetables and fruits and whole almond milk. That allows us to be protected. It allows our body to function at a higher level. And we learned this from a gentleman, his name's Jason Moore from Vital Living, amazing guy. He and his wife completely changed the whole direction of their health with fruits and vegetables and doing things naturally. So Pete, I just want to thank you for your time. You really gave us a lot of great information to not only think about, but to process, and your years of expertise have just been absolutely wonderful to have you on our show, and I'm grateful and thankful, and I just hope you have a gorgeous day. And we're going to take a quick commercial break. I want to leave you with some amazing stuff, and we're going to be right back because your health and wellness is so important, and you're 150% worth it.
Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center located at 2310 Churchville Road, Suite C in Bel Air, is enhancing lives through the power of a chiropractic adjustment. As a licensed chiropractor in Maryland and Pennsylvania, Dr. Evan Christman can correct damage from years of lifestyle stresses while educating you to maintain good health for your lifetime. A dedicated professional with a very special focus on children with learning differences and autism, Dr. Christman treats people of all ages, newborn babies, children, pregnant women, families, seniors, and professional golfers. Isn't it time for you to reclaim your life? Take your first step toward health and vitality today. Call Christman Family Chiropractic, a creating wellness center at 410-734-4060 and let their experienced staff show you how to restore the flow of life. 410-734-4060 or check them out at restorelifeflow.com.
Welcome back to Wake Up to Wellness with Michelle Christman. I'm so excited you guys are back with us. We've had such an amazing show. We've learned so many wonderful things that you can make excellent choices for your health and for your vitality. I'd love for you to not only begin to think about great ways that you can improve your health, but right now is a great time for you to get out into your community and go meet your local farmers. We have so many wonderful, wonderful people in our community, especially in Hartford County. You've got the Umburgers, Cindy and Worley Umburger. They have the best food that you could possibly want to buy. Also Broom's Bloom, really great place for you to stop by. Andy's Poultry, you can get eggs and chicken. You can buy that from Broom's Bloom as well. Great artisanal cheeses that the Amish make. Wonderful milk from Kilby's Creamery. Also Brad's Produce. There's Harlan's Market. There are a lot of CSAs that are going on right now, and many people may say, well, what is that? Basically what happens is that the farmer puts together chemical-free produce and you buy into their food. Each week you get a package or a box of food. Some people also include flowers or some really nice things. And you can eat great fresh vegetables and fruit all throughout the spring and summer. If you really want to get crazy, you can also can, which is a completely another story. But at the end of the day, we're delving into some great time for you to buy the best foods and really invest in your health. Also, the central nervous system's huge. Without it, it's your main vital need. Go see your local chiropractor. Dr. Christman and I focus on not only families, newborns, and pregnant women, but children with learning differences and autism. When that nerve system's able to send the signal to the brain and back again, amazing things occur. But many people will fall back onto, but I'm eating well. I'm changing the way I'm eating. That does not add up to your central nervous system functioning at its most optimal level. And no matter how